National Defense Authorization Act has passed in the House. China is developing weapons to alter brain function. There's more UFO videos coming out, and there's other UFO news to cover. So let's go over it in a UFO News Roundup. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, please share on social media, and let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, first up, we've got, bill number HR 2670, which is the National Defense Authorization Act, which is what they're going to put the UAP disclosure bill in, or amendment in, whatever it is. And although some are saying it has not been officially included yet, so I'm a little vague on that, and I haven't gotten any firm answers. I've been looking for that. If you have come across that, let me know. But either way, it has passed by a narrow margin in the House of Representatives. And here's a list of all the senators that voted yay or nay. But, anyway, that gets into the politics of it. But it looks like things are progressing, and whether the amendment specifically about UAP will have to be included later, I don't know. Does that mean they will have to vote on it separately? I don't know. We will find out in the days to come. Meanwhile, China crafts weapons to alter brain function. Report says tech meant to influence government leaders. Could this be an answer to the Havana syndrome? Were they testing out some crazy weapons to alter brain function? China's developing high technology weapons designed to disrupt brain functions and influence government leaders or entire populations. The weapons can be used to directly attack or control brains using microwave or other directed energy weapons and handheld guns or larger weapons firing electromagnetic beams, adding that the danger of China's brain warfare weapons prior to or during a conflict is no longer theoretical. Yeesh. And this is from the Washington Times. So, yikes. I'm not going to read the whole article, but I will link to it and you can read it at your leisure. In other world UFO news, or, in as much as that is UFO news, it's certainly weird high tech. Maybe they developed it independent of any reverse engineering of alien technology. But whatever, it's really interesting tech related stuff, and it's international. So going with that theme, we have this video from Iran where they are firing on a UFO, and this has been going around for a few days. So it's not breaking news, but it's relatively breaking news. And, I'll just play it and you tell me if you think this is legit footage or not. And you're seeing their ground defenses firing at this luminous object in the sky. And it's just kind of sitting there. Doesn't seem to be fazed by whatever they're doing. It's not trying to avoid them. Just kind of sitting there hanging out and saying, come and get me, guys. What you got? Was that all you got? And they keep on shooting at it. Yeah. And it just kind of parks there. So, I mean, that looks like good footage to me. I mean, CGI is so easy to come up with these days. So I don't know if this is legit footage or if this could have a mundane explanation or not. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this authentic UFO UAP footage and the Iranian military is shooting at it as it appears, or is it something completely mundane? In other news, this is a big story that has been making a lot of people excited. Anonymous vowed to uncover the truth about UFOs, UAPs, and ETI. Activist and hacktivist collective Anonymous said it is troubled by the lack of accountability in government funding for technological advancements made by aerospace companies involved in classified government black projects. Activist and hacktivist Collective Anonymous has vowed to uncover the truth about UFOs. The shadowy, decentralized organization is known for its various cyber attacks against several governments, government institutions, and government agencies, corporations, and the Church of Scientology. Now, in a video released on Saturday, July 15th, Anonymous announced it was launching what it calls Project Disclosure. The initiative aims to gather information regarding UAPs, UFOs, and ETs visiting our planet. It comes after new legislation was announced in the United States that would declassify government documents about UFOs. Last month, Republican Senator Marco Rubio said that multiple whistleblowers with access to restricted government information have claimed firsthand knowledge about UFOs. Now, Anonymous has said it is troubled by the lack of accountability. In a statement issued on YouTube, Anonymous said, "Greetings, humanity. We are Anonymous. For quite some time, many of us have been closely observing the disclosure process concerning the UAP phenomenon. We will no longer observe this crucial point in history from a distance. We too are intrigued to witness how this all unfolds. As a decentralized collective, Anonymous has always been committed to truth and government accountability. We are driven by the pursuit of truth and challenging those in power." Now, I'm not real familiar with Anonymous. I don't know who this is. If you do, let me know your thoughts about them coming forward trying to disclose UFO information. I mean, I guess I should, support any disclosure of UFO information. However, I also don't support criminal activity if they're hacking into organizations to get this. So, I'm of mixed minds about it, but it is an intriguing situation, and I definitely had to include it in the UFO News Roundup. In other news, we have various news agencies, CNN, Fox, and even Britain, that are covering this very exciting topic, the new UAP legislation and surrounding events. And they seem to finally be engaging on this topic. So let's just listen a little bit to what some of these various programs are saying. Here is what the UK has to say.
Your question, your fear, your doubt is what?
I just think it all sounds a bit loopy, and I wait to see facts. And
Just
I'm very
because
much
it sounds loopy, though, that's not
I'm
good
not
enough,
ruling
is it?
anything out, but I deal in facts. So as soon as you can give me some
there are
evidence,
plenty of
I'd be
facts.
very interested to see it. But
And it's not new. Can I just throw that in? This isn't a new thing. Some people think it's a 20th century thing. The earliest records on Earth, the Sanskrit records, the Bible, many other legends are just full of extraterrestrial, I would say, but certainly UFOs, which have been sighted. And they are friendly. I just have to finish with
Well,
that. If
I'm
they
not sure
weren't, we'd
everyone
know it.
would agree the Bible's full of UFO
Yes, of
sightings.
course it
but
is.
It's
It is.
interesting
Of
that
course
you
it
talk
is.
about-
Star of Bethlehem for a star.
Oh, right,
Not a star, is
so
it?
you term a star
Yes.
a UFO?
It's not a star, is it? Stars
Well, it's
can't
a bright
hover over a
star that's
state.
guiding.
But when did it ever appear again?
Anyway, it goes on.
Stable.
But you can see there's one person that's, positively disposed toward the news, and one person that's kind of, giggling. So, but at least it's progress. They are talking about it, and they do at least include one voice that is, taking this seriously. Here's the article that just came out on Fox: UFO legislation to usher in a new age of transparency, a long past time. So this is a very positively disposed article. New legislation to declassify and release UFO-related records could start a new age of transparency about ET matters. The Senate approved the UAP Disclosure Act, which says all federal government records concerning UAP should carry a presumption of immediate disclosure. It's unknown how many of these records exist, but the legislation says credible evidence and testimony indicates documents have not been declassified or subject to mandatory declassification review under the Freedom of Information Act. Legislation action is necessary to restore proper oversight over UAP records that have been otherwise lacking into further scientific and technological research. So there you go. Fox is, posting a very positive article on this. No wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This is all very silly, as with the Julian Barnes New York Times article that came out recently, where he was reporting on the facts, and it wasn't a hit piece on the new legislation, but there were a few little comments in there. They're looking for this UAP stuff, however unlikely it exists. Little sneering comments like that, and you don't get that in this article, and I find that interesting. Meanwhile, CNN is also covering this news, so I'm very excited. I just played a few days ago NBC, covering this news, and now we have CNN doing likewise. Now they have an astronaut on to give his thoughts. So let's see what CNN's take on this is, what their stance is.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer introduced legislation to create a review board to declassify government records relating to the sightings of unexplained aerial phenomenon, or UFOs. Do you support that legislation? And as a pilot, have you personally ever seen any unidentified, unexplained aerial phenomenon, either as a fighter pilot or as an astronaut?
I have not, and none of my colleagues have, as far as I know, and we actually very rarely even speak about this. Can't remember one time in space that we actually talked about aliens or focused, on a mission. Hey, if it doesn't have a negative impact on our national security, I think transparency with the American people is the best option. So I haven't seen this, or maybe I have. Let me also say, Jake, that when we have extraordinary claims, we need some extraordinary evidence. That's what Carl Sagan said about this kind of stuff. And I think it's important to get the information out there as long as it doesn't impact our national security.
You sound skeptical.
A little skeptical. I mean, the distances involved from, when you think about the physics of space flight and, how what it would take to get around just our galaxy. Now, having said that, there's 2 trillion minimum galaxies in the universe, each with hundreds of billions of stars. So when you think about the potential of life in the universe, even within our galaxy, it's tremendous. But I have yet to see any strong evidence of, any life form visiting us from another part of our galaxy.
Yeah, you talk about how the challenge of traveling that distance, but that's just with our little tiny brains, Senator. I mean, who knows what's
Well, that's
out there.
right. And we've exactly, and we've gone we've come a long way in the last 120 years, right?
So Jake Tapper seems, the host seems more impartial and more open-minded toward this, which is very encouraging. However, what's discouraging is they brought on a more of a skeptical mind to give the rebuttal or the counter argument against this. So although he is not saying it doesn't exist, but he is definitely approaching it from a very more skeptical point of view. And it is discouraging that they would have brought that sort of voice on the show instead of somebody more positively disposed toward disclosure and the reality of the UFO phenomenon, possibly even somebody that has been involved in some of this stuff, like some of the prominent UFO personalities that are out there. So, I'm glad they're covering it. However, I am, not super excited about this particular piece and the direction they are going, at least with this segment. Hopefully they'll have more segments in the future with better witnesses that are more open-minded and that are actually willing to look at the evidence, not approach it from the point of view of this particular astronaut. For example, they could have talked to Ross Coulthart. Here he is with Bryce Zabel on Need to Know, where he has some really an interesting take here on a particular subject. So let's listen to what Ross has to say. No visual, just audio.
And then you go to section 2, my friend, findings, declarations, and purposes. And it's quite clear that the Congress, Senator Schumer, knows something. It's quite clear when they say that all federal government records relating to UAP should be preserved and centralised for historical and federal government purposes. They should all have a presumption of immediate disclosure and should be eventually disclosed to enable the public to become fully informed about the history of the federal government's knowledge and involvement surrounding unidentified anomalous phenomena. This is not speculation. I know for a fact from my own sources that there have been secret witnesses now giving evidence to key Senate and House intelligence committees. This is the moment. This is where the Congress finally turned the corner and for the first time states quite categorically, yes, the federal government or sections of the federal government are hiding something. It says in what is it, a clause or a subsection 2 of section 2 of this proposed amendment, legislation is necessary because credible evidence and testimony indicates that federal government unidentified anomalous phenomena records exist that have not been declassified or subject to mandatory declassification review, as set forth in Executive Order 13526, relating to classified national security information due in part to exemptions under the Atomic Energy Act of 1954, as well as an overbroad interpretation of transclassified foreign nuclear information, which is also exempt from mandatory declassification, thereby preventing public disclosure under existing provisions of law. My friend, this is not speculative. This is Congress saying categorically information has been improperly withheld. This is historic.
So there you go. Ross Coulthart saying Congress knows some stuff. Chuck Schumer knows some stuff. There have been whistleblowers that have been coming forward behind the scenes talking about this stuff to Congress. And Congress is aware of at least some of the scope of what is really going on. And they are trying to get access to it and trying to potentially even reveal it to the public. We'll see how far they go in that. But I think Ross's comments are really on point, and I would love to know what he knows. Meanwhile, Sean Cahill is also weighing in on the subject on the Good Trouble Show.
It is just wild. 63 pages of this stuff. Do you think that it's going to get watered down? I know it has to go through committees, or do you think that it'll remain largely intact when it finally makes it into the final language that would go into the 24 NDAA?
I believe the initial wording that we see is very smart. I think that it shows me that this is being taken very seriously. They avoided buzzwords, whether people like it or not. The fact is we have to come up with new words for these things because all the other words have stigma attached to them. Non-human intelligence is the proper way to talk about this, because if we're being real, let's even assume that we have been told where they're from by them. That's just their take on it. Unless they left a breadcrumb trail back to their planet or their place of origin that we can verify, we would only be if whatever we're dealing with that has hidden itself from us may be lying. So I like that the language leaves room for our investigation, for the truth to be pulled out, not the zeitgeist. Watered down, I've seen people claiming that the fact that there's a 25-year scope on some of this, they're trying to say, yeah, whatever, tune in next week. That's because they want you to get you to listen to them and not to pay attention to the fact that people are taking this seriously. That if they weren't taking it seriously, they just would have dropped that bomb on all of us and then made us figure it out. And they would. I'm sure that sociologists and economists and other people smarter than I have sat down at some point and have some model for this kind of paradigm shift, and want to ensure continuity of operations for all of us. The lights need to stay on, the cops need to arrive, the firemen need to show up when someone yells fire. And these ideas we can't put that on pause while we all wrap our heads around something like this. So I think that they're doing it the right way. a lot of opportunity there to fail.
Yeah, well, he's absolutely right. And once I started to get into all this UFO stuff a few years ago, in 2017, I had to go through this big adjustment process. And it took me a long time to wrap my head around this and to accept the reality of it. And then the reality just kept on getting weirder and weirder the more I investigated into this. But at the end of the day, I reminded myself, at the end of the day, you got to put the trash out. You got to take the trash out. You've got to take care of business. You got to live your life. Everyday life must go on while you're adjusting to this new reality. And a lot of people are going to be realizing that and learning to adjust to this new paradigm. And that we need to have a process in place. And he's saying, Congress is doing it the right way. They're kind of slowly putting this out there. And I think that, maybe that's got some validity. But I do think that in the civilian sector, we need to have groups. We need to have, support groups. We need to have some sort of system in place to help people adjust to this new reality. Because a lot of people are just going to go about their day. Okay, so there's UFOs. When is the game on? Big whoop, right? But a lot of people are going to struggle with this. This is going to be hard for a lot of people, as it was for me. And I think if we rip the Band-Aid off swiftly, it's going to be even harder. And as much as I want to rip the Band-Aid off as swiftly as possible, I think that is a genuine concern. And we do need to have a system in place. Support groups, whatever it is that can help people. Because once this can of worms starts getting opened, I don't know if we can control how fast those worms are coming out. So the Band-Aid may be coming off swifter than, it would be best for the public psyche. I don't know. But again, I kind of want it to be ripped off as quickly as possible. But if that happens, support groups, whatever. Let me know your thoughts on how best to help people deal with this new reality. Oh, and there's a new video that's been making the rounds. Actually, it's not new. It was taken in 2007, but it's just come to my attention, and it's been making the rounds and becoming really popular over the last week or so. And this was taken in Costa Rica in 2007. Let me know what you think about this UFO video.
William, man. William.
Turns on its side and flies away.
William.
Here's it.
William.
I think the one on the right is the enhanced footage. All right, here we go. The stabilized version.
William, man. William.
I don't think that noise is coming from the UFO. I think it's coming from some power saw or something. Somebody's doing some work. But I could be wrong. Look at that. I mean, that looks... to me, that looks very convincing. I mean, if that's CGI, it looks good. It looks good. I mean, CGI is really good these days. Was it that good in 2007? Yeah, maybe. Maybe it was. But still, look how weird it is. I mean, I don't know if that would be... I don't know if a CGI artist would have done it quite like that. That is just really interesting. Like the way it flips on its side and then boogies off, because that's what Bob Lazar and others have said. That's how they fly, is they, there's the things on the bottom, the little anti-gravity or whatever nodules on the bottom that direct them. And so they flip on their side when they want to go to the side. At least according to that theory, or those people that are saying that. And we have multiple videos showing that, including this one, as well as the famous gimbal video where the thing is flipping on its side. However, it was already moving in that direction when it flipped on its side, so I'm unclear exactly how these things operate, because they do seem to be able to move perfectly fine horizontally with the top up, or what I think of as the top up. So why do they flip on their side at certain points? Is that when they need to move extra fast? I don't know. Let me know how you think these things work in the comments below. I'd like to end on a note that doesn't have anything to do with UFOs. I just saw this video and it just tickles me. I mean, okay, I think it'll warm your heart and make your day better to see this video. Just a dude hanging out with a wild fox. I mean, come on, right? Anyway, let me know what you think about all this UFO news and speculation. We've got Anonymous coming out, doing all sorts of, hacking or whatever to bring us the truth about UFOs. We've got legislation being passed. We've got UFO videos circulating. We have major news outlets, even international outlets, finally picking up on the story and reporting on it. So an interesting time to be alive and to be into UFOs. And of course, we've got this lovely video of a guy playing a banjo for a fox in the woods. I love it. All right, guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. I would love to see you guys there. And if you wanted to see more videos, there are plenty of other videos on the channel. And I'll see you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.